today. You referenced the electric slide. I'll share my concerns that during 4 years of the Biden administration, we were sliding behind foreign competition, in particular in the digital asset space, from the Bahamas to China. And I want to ask you, what would happen if we put our heads in the sand, if we object, if we walk out of that type of leadership role, which I think is so essential, to make sure that the United States continues to lead the way in Web 3 as we did in Web 2. And in particular, how does the leadership in digital assets play into President Trump's broader agenda? And specifically, how do dollar-denominated stablecoins impact dollar dominance in Treasury markets?
Congressman, thank you for that very important question. Our goal is to encourage firms to reshore, bring back to the United States best practices, their digital asset innovation and experimentation here in the United States without scaling back their ambition to influence the global industry. The administration's efforts to promote clear regulatory frameworks for digital assets will contribute to this goal. So will ongoing efforts to promote fair access, interoperability of payment technologies across all borders. We will continue to support private sector solutions and discourage public sector solutions that distort markets and stifle competition.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in because I think that's spot on. And then let's talk about what happens if we fail to act. Yesterday, some members objected, walked out of a hearing to discuss market structure and digital assets, an absolutely essential leadership role the United States has to play. What happens if we walk out on our responsibility to lead in the digital asset space, and what would occur if Web3 center of gravity shifts away from the United States to countries like China or other locations?
Well, numerous things could occur, sir. As we saw under the previous administration, an entire ecosystem, the unregulated and renegade, springs up outside the U.S., and illicit actors abuse the value of these transfer systems, and there is a technological loss here.
Can you walk us through or share any of your impressions from the conversations you've had with your counterparts abroad as it relates to their experience with regulating in the digital asset space?
They believe it's very important, and I believe that they are a little worried that the U.S. is willing to restore its leadership here. And as I said earlier, there is a chance that digital assets can provide a substantial source of demand for the U.S. dollar.
In my bill, the Stable Act, which regulates dollar-denominated stable coins, we give the Treasury the authority to identify which foreign stablecoin regulatory regimes are comparable to ours. What are the key aspects of comparable regime, and are there lessons or criteria that we can draw from other similar areas in the financial services space?
Congressman, I think that we have the blueprint with the bank regulation and adherence to anti-money laundering laws around the world, financial stability, and I would guess that 70% of the countries would be very easy to judge yes, no, and then there will be another group. That's why I believe that some of the bills encourage phasing this in.
And a lot of stablecoin, a lot of digital asset space needs reliable banking services. Could you comment briefly on how the Treasury is working with bank regulators to ensure that financial institutions can safely participate in this emerging industry?
We have recently delivered a report to the President on this, so we have safe and sound best practices, and we want to work with the financial industry, with new companies and entrepreneurs, as well as incumbents. The banks, there is a solution to banks to participate in this business, whether it's through custody or their own coins.
Let me shift gears really quickly in my final 30 seconds. President Trump issued an executive order on modernizing payments to and from Americans' bank accounts. The executive order noted that the Treasury checks are 16 times more likely to be reported lost or stolen or returned as compared to electric transfer funds. Do you think we're making real progress in this space?
We are working all speed ahead. Congresswoman from Staten Island told me of numerous losses of checks in the postal system, and it is both cost-cutting and a good practice, sir.
Thank you very much. Thanks for being here today.